Now, a new national police hub is being set up to help track down online trolls responsible for...
Headphone warning. This is your first headphone warning.
Hate crime online and people who post abusive content on social media. We know it's out there. We know there's quite a lot of it.
We certainly do. Here's some. Why does this keep happening, eh? We're going to discuss how to crack down on online abuse. Here to give us some advice is a notorious serial abuser. Stop abusing cereal, Kate. Get some omega-3.
There's been an increase in these types of reports after the EU referendum last year.
What a weird connection to make. Yes, there have been lots of things on the increase since the EU referendum last year. It started with people protesting against democracy, and it's since moved on to people protesting against free speech. And they are now successfully getting the police to carry out their machinations. But those people are not the trolls, are they? The anti-democratic, pro-censorship serial online abusers are not the trolls. The people whose free speech they want to take away are the trolls. The people whose vote they want to take away are the trolls. The moral busybodies who open their laptop, get an innocent person arrested, then close it back down and carry on with their frappuccino, they are not the trolls. The innocent people going to jail are the trolls.
And earlier this year, around the time of the terrorist attacks in the UK.
Remember, the people killing us are not the trolls. The people who have a problem with being killed are the trolls. What is a troll, please? Because it sounds an awful lot like a witch.
Let's talk to comedian Kate Smurthwaite.
Remember, the people who make their career by shitting on certain demographics and then crying victim at any trace of a backlash are not the trolls. The people they troll are the trolls.
Who's here, and you've had your fair share of trolling, haven't you?
Absolutely, yeah. I've been receiving internet abuse for about 10 years. And it's escalated over that period of time, kind of sometimes gradually.
It's weird, isn't it, Kate? The more famous you get, the more positive attention you get, and the more negative attention you get. It's like all three numbers go up proportionally. It's inexplicable, isn't it? Although, to be fair, it can't be because of your presence on YouTube. You have fewer than 2,000 subscribers. And I'm not having a go. I'm just saying it's amazingly low for someone who appears on national television on a regular basis. You appear to be unpopular with everyone except TV producers. Either you have an amazing agent or you've got something on these people, like incriminating photos or something. Or there is a third option, which I'll get into in due course.
And then other times I'll do a particular TV appearance or a particular subject that seems to hit a kind of sore point with the kind of people who do this kind of thing.
The kind of people who do... You mean men, don't you, Kate? When you shit all over men, for some reason men get shitty with you.
And suddenly there's a step up and a ramp up, and it never really ever goes back to the old way.
Kate, people talk to you on the internet because that is the only platform on which they can do so. They can't talk to you through the television. Yeah, and they're not allowed to talk to you on the street or whatever. Hence, the internet accounts for everyone who wishes to speak to you. But they didn't discover you because of the internet. They discovered you because they saw you on TV. So maybe, Kate, you should go on TV. Actually, do you know what? I think I'll address this to Sky News and all the other television outlets who keep calling up Kate Smurthwaite every time they have a slow news day and need someone to come and complain about first world problems. If you don't want the lovely Kate to get so much negative attention, then maybe refrain from plonking her in front of your cameras several times a year as the token massive cunt. You know what you're doing, don't you? You know she's a massive cunt and that massive cunts get people's attention. That's why you keep calling her. And that's why she's treated by various comment sections on a larger scale than she'd prefer, like the massive cunt she is practically contracted to be. It smacks of exploitation to me. And if she wasn't such a shameless attention junkie, then I might give a shit. Kate's not listening to me anymore. I dropped the C word like 4 times, so now I'm definitely the M word. Blocked! Yeah, boo, yeah, boo, 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 boo. It's just you and me now, folks. You and me and the ghost of bullshit yet to come. But I'll continue to do that thing where I address the subject even though they're not listening. It makes for snappier rhetoric, is all.
But in this modern world, I mean, you are known for you can be quite outspoken. You know, you've got your staunch views and you stick to them, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Why not? Why is there nothing wrong with this particular person sticking to her opinions and expressing them? Why should she not be arrested?
Woman has opinions. Stop press. Yeah, I know.
But
how could I possibly forget? It's a woman, guys. False alarm. It's just a woman with opinions. It's not like a man with an opinion, otherwise known as a troll.
And it's absolutely fair to say.
Do you therefore expect some sort of retaliation?
I mean, of course, whenever you go out and you have an opinion, you expect someone to say, I disagree with you, and I think you're wrong for this reason. I mean, and I would never describe anything like that as abuse.
In order to compose that series of tweets at the beginning of the video, Kate, I had to search through your timeline. It took me about 17 years. And then I looked up at the clock and it turned out it had only been 35 minutes. It profoundly warped my sense of time, Kate, because it was the most depressing 35 minutes of my life. It was like every lukewarm liquid shit I've ever done was flashing before my eyes in an eternal instant. Your feed is mostly comprised of self-congratulatory self-promotion, which is fair enough, it's the only thing Twitter's good for. But the rest of it, as the clips indicated, was you responding to mostly legitimate points by being relentlessly dismissive and some might say abusive. Yes, Kate, calling people racists and sexists when they are not is abusive. Exactly as abusive as calling them baby killers and shitskins. If a man talked to his wife that way, you would not hesitate to call it abuse. Domestic abuse, no less. But if a woman talked to her husband that way, you'd pump your fist and cheer, wouldn't you? Because when men do it, it's because they hate women. And when women do it, it's because they're oppressed. And they don't do it. That's about the long and the short of it, isn't it? Okay, that's the long and the short and the negative length of it. And the great irony is, at least one of the great ironies, is your career, Kate, aside from the really quite pish-poor comedy, consists of mostly going on television and arguing with women. This is what people see you doing on television, Kate.
We're going to have young girls being dragged into the sex industry. We're going to have human trafficking going on.
But there were no girls.
All of these
I haven't
things.
seen a single. I haven't seen a single
Well, I've
one.
seen photos.
You know, the reality is the government spends over £100 million every year on abortion. Any woman that wants an abortion in this country could get it within the next 5 minutes.
And yet Savita Halappanavar died.
That
Whichever
is
simply not true, dear. You're telling porkies. No, rubbish.
You can
so
just
you're
believe me
this is
if you like.
sexist. You're making sexist. So you're saying it only happens to women.
No, I haven't said that, actually.
But you're saying they wouldn't do it if it was a man.
No, actually...
That's not really a sexist
Of course
thing
it
to
is
say
if the
that people
rules
have
are
to be
different.
smart.
She died because she couldn't get an abortion. A woman died.
Case.
A woman
She
died in
of
Ireland.
septicemia
because she couldn't
somebody
get an abortion.
failed
There's-
to-
read-
It has nothing
Well,
got
just,
to do with
you know,
it.
just
You're
Google
twisting
her.
the... No,
just Google her.
I have
Every
read.
medical report. But
Get a life.
You're quite right. And talking about, an abortion on the grounds of gender and all this kind of stuff.
Would be legal.
Could I please finish, Anne?
What is wrong with you, woman?
Yeah, here we go. There's the...
And
That's definitely not trimmed or
It's not
tidy.
manicured.
It's not
So you
manicured.
don't trim it or anything?
I don't do anything.
No.
I mean,
So, Lizzie,
I pop a bit of deodorant
shall I show
on.
you? I'm sorry, it makes me feel quite queasy.
Underneath the wheel arches of lorries to try to escape.
and everybody's
people are
heard-
dying.
people
And
have
meanwhile,
heard
we're
those.
bickering about one guy and whether he looks a bit older than
I don't
he
think
is.
it's bickering. I think it's more serious than that.
They have the same set of standards for men and for women.
They're not
So
asking.
sexism
No,
has
they
nothing to do
cannot
with it.
possibly.
You're just looking for something to say, dear. You're talking tripe.
Be Kate Smurthwaite. Go on television and get shit from women. Go online and get shit from women and men. Go on television again and blame men for all the shit you get.
But what astounds me is that...
And then the man talking to you goes, yes, Your Majesty, that sounds perfectly correct. We're terrible. There's no excuse. Sorry.
But what astounds me is that when people are given a platform to speak to people they see on TV, that these opinions are actually out there to begin with.
Yeah, it's astounding, right? Why would anyone have a negative reaction to Kate Smurthwaite? She didn't do anything. It's not as if she hates men. It's far more likely that all men hate her. Yeah, and only men. Except this guy.
These levels of violence, even if it is only in terms of language, it's still very threatening.
Do you hear that? Levels of violence, even if it's only language. Now I remember why I don't watch TV anymore. Because they've gone fucking insane. Trapped inside that little box of theirs. Language is violence. Ladies and gentlemen, not language sometimes precedes violence, not language can sometimes turn into violence, but language itself is violence. Except language used on the television by us, by the approved agents, when we sit here and effectively threaten the male citizens of this country with state-sanctioned mob justice for the crime of sending a tweet. That's not violent. There's nothing violent about that language. The language we use is just language, don't be absurd. It's the language used by our competition. I mean, the men who say things on our competitors' platforms. That's the language that should be treated with the same legal retaliation as grievous bodily harm. You are a slippery fucking jackal, mate. Whoever you are.
No, it's fascinating, isn't it? It's something like 50 years since Germaine Greer said women have very little idea how much men hate them. Well, thank you, Twitter. Message received.
Germaine, mate. Maybe they hate you because you steal the nude photographs they had taken when they were teenagers, and then you publish them without their consent, along with a bunch of books about how males are hateful bastards. Maybe they hate you because you said any penis that's erect must necessarily be aroused and therefore consenting, because there's no such thing as a nervous erection now, is there? Maybe some men hate you, Germaine, because they don't like lecherous predators who blame victims. Thank you, literature. Thank you, cold light of day.
And yeah, it is absolutely terrifying that these attitudes are out there. And in a sense, I think we should be grateful to the internet, because I think we're better off knowing what's out there than kind of living in this rather sort of wallpapered world of, like, you know, we only say nice, polite things. I think it's better that we know that these attitudes are out there, and then we can challenge them and acknowledge them.
And arrest them. Remember, be angry, be afraid, do panic, and be sure to take all your shit out on other people. I know when you open your front door or look out the window, you might get the misleading impression that women aren't being raped on every street by Nazis, with towering six-nippled demon men standing on every street corner, poking pigs in the eyes with their tridents and marrying children. There's the dark smog over the horizon, there's mushroom clouds going off in the distance to the soundtrack of the Ride of the fucking Valkyries. I know it might look like the vast majority of people are perfectly friendly and law-abiding and cooperative, but you have to listen and believe me when I tell you it's a Bosch painting out there. It's an inconceivable hellscape, and the only solution to this nightmare is the immediate arrest and imprisonment of anyone who tells me no.
Is it fair to say? Is it because anyone can get abuse and get trolled online, but are women more prone to it? Women with a voice?
Yeah, all the evidence says that women get disproportionately large amounts.
This is your second warning, headphone users. Repeat, warning, turn your shit down now. Sometimes only a severely coked-up mid-90s ginger wildheart can express things appropriately. What you just saw was and is an ongoing piece of research that consistently tells us that men on the whole experience more online harassment than women. It's not limited to kings or presidents or heads of state. It is about broad demographics. But, Kate, Do you know of a piece of research that might be more relevant than that?
So if you look at, there's a piece of research about MPs getting abuse.
MPs, Kate.
In the run-up to the election, and
MPs in the run-up to an election. Kate, we're going to ignore the rest of the people for the rest of the year. Okay. Then who got the most abuse during Brexit? Was it Farage? Was it Boris? Was it David Cameron for fucking everything up? Do you think Theresa May gets too much abuse? Dang, you seem to have gone quiet. Are you going to talk about the abuse Marine Le Pen received in the run-up to the French election? You don't know of any. How strange.
They identified something like 900,000 pieces of internet abuse in the run-up to the last election, and 45% of them went to Diane Abbott, which tells you that it's along racial lines and it's along gender lines.
Why does Trump get so much abuse online, Kate? If I could pull you out of this temporal bubble from 5 months ago, let's get back to the big picture. How confident are you that Donald Trump is by far and away the politician who receives the most abuse online? Yeah, and indeed offline. Why is that? It's because he's a fucking idiot, isn't it? Because people see him as incompetent and unfit for the job. Not because he's white and male. But, Kate, I would still rather replace everyone in the cabinet with mutant Cronenberg baby clones of Trump than let so much as a single strain of Diane Abbott's DNA cross the threshold into any position of power. Because in terms of competency and fitness for the job of having any fucking clue what's going on and being able to articulate it instead of making up embarrassing bullshit on the spot, Diane Abbott makes Donald Trump look like Vishnu on a heroic dose of DMT. And for the record, the only MP I abused during the run-up to the election was Jeremy Corbyn. I called him a stupid fucking goat cunt. Because he looks like a goat's cunt. Unsee it, I dare you.
You know, people are being very, very kind of clear. And it's interesting because this new initiative that's been set up will challenge, hate speech online. And that includes race, it includes religion, it includes disability, it includes sexuality, it includes gender identity. It doesn't include being a woman. It includes sexuality, it includes gender identity. It doesn't include being a woman.
Oh, my mind brain has a hurt pain.
It includes sexuality, it includes gender identity. It doesn't include being a woman.
This is why it's taken me so long to do a video about Kate Smurthwaite. It takes an exhausting amount of sheer calculation just to try and figure out what the fuck's wrong with her. How she can say shit like that. And the person she's talking to just goes, yeah, that's the perfectly thing that makes sense. Thank you so much. Please come on our show again. No, really. You see? Yeah. See, what she did there, to bamboozle the poor bastards in your audience into thinking she's completing her sentences in any logical way, what she did was she told two lies. Two different lies back to back. The truth is, it does include being a woman, but it doesn't include gender identity. Because to include gender identity, it would have to include both men and women, and it does not include men. Milo got banned from Twitter because of things he said to a woman. Gregory Allen Elliott got banned from the entire internet for several years because of things he said to a woman. Not threats, not abuse, just arguments. John Nimmo and Isabella Sawley went to prison for sending menacing tweets to a woman. Which goes to show you, either a man or a woman can be punished for saying things on Twitter, but only if they say them to a woman. For 5 years now, at least, the social media sites, the government and the police themselves have been making public examples of people just for criticising the highly controversial actions of rich, influential celebrity women. And not so much as an eyelash has been batted to discourage anyone from doing the same thing to men of any class or stature. Because that doesn't happen, /who gives a fuck. And Smurthwaite can still sit there with her fucking troll face on and claim words to the effect of women are the only gender identity not protected from mean words online. So let's finally pull our fingers out and arrest more people than we've been arresting. There is no end in sight with this. These people will not stop. until every straight, white, able-bodied man is in prison, and there's no one left on the internet but disabled black, lesbian, Islamic, Mexican others who vote Labour. In other words, they will never stop, because there aren't enough of those people to have a fucking game of quiplash. They are not trying to fix any problems. They just want to arrest and punish and mistreat all the people they can get away with arresting, punishing, and mistreating. And when you do it in the name of thought crime, you have passed over from run-of-the-mill despotism to fully automatic totalitarianism. First, you talk like a fucking maniac, then you gradually get everyone to listen to and believe in your fucking mania. And we've long since arrived there. Long since. We've been living here like it's a holiday home.
So in actual fact, 99% of the stuff that I get, this is not going to even help with. And I mean, in fairness, it's a tiny little initiative. It's, what, £200,000.
This is how they're spending your taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, the police keep telling them, hey, police here, this is a ludicrous waste of our time and resources. We have murderers and terrorists we need to track down, and grooming gangs we need to catch. And yet we're spending our weekends harassing and arresting our citizens for the crime of writing strongly worded letters to their MPs. The bastards! The police are supposed to serve the public, and you've turned us into a joke. Please stop. We don't have the resources for this. And what's the response? Dear police, here's 200 grand of innocent taxpayers' money. Now you have more resources, so get out there and arrest the innocent taxpayers. Hey, any chance of a boost in the terrorist catching budget? No.
There's obviously no way that you're going to solve a significant proportion of it. That said, I mean, I welcome anything, and of course, all those other characteristics should be defended. And the fact that something is being done, I think is really significant just in terms of the message that it sends out.
Kate, it is not just messages being sent out. Police officers are being sent out, and that's still not good enough for you.
Because if there are people at home about to hit the send button, they've gotten into a rage, they've typed it all in capital letters, and they've got their finger on the send button. Hopefully, the knowledge that something is being done, however, at this stage we have no idea how effective it's going to be, but the knowledge that there is a sort of pushback against it, hopefully,
will spread fear and uncertainty across the public conscience, so they'll shut the fuck up and let me get on with my capricious, abusive fear-mongering in peace.
That sends a message that, hang on, I could get in trouble for this. Let's not send it.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
I know it looks like Smurthwaite is the villain here, but look beneath the surface. The guy's not even challenging her on the inherently, categorically wrong shit she's saying. On the contrary, she's told him everything he wants his audience to hear. Look how fucking smug he is.
So, Kate, good to talk to you.
You too.
Thank you. Would love your thoughts on that this morning at Sky Stephen. But if you want to be abusive, don't bother.
See? He believes all the same things as her, but he's not the one getting shit. She is. Smurthwaite's not the villain, she's the fall guy. She's just too fucking stupid to realise she's being used. Come on our show again, Kate, and say the same cunty things that we think. Take all the heat for all the cunty things that we think but won't say, and then go back to your mediocre platform on social media that we are going to pull out from under you any day now, thanks to the propaganda that you are helping to push out. Just like when Goldsmiths College deplatformed you for not being feminist enough. It didn't occur to you, then or ever, that maybe feminism is not helping your career. You keep spreading totalitarian feminist bullshit across the world, and that totalitarian feminist bullshit keeps biting you in the ass, but you keep spreading it anyway. It's all you know how to do. It's like God takes another shit on you, so you go, maybe this time, if I jam my head further up God's anus, he won't shit on me again. Because you're a moron. You may be a cunt, Smurthwaite, but you are like 16 parts cunt to 25 parts moron. You are being exploited, and you can't get enough of it. Because the people who exploit you also give you the opportunity to exploit other people. And you're happy with that trade-off. Because you're just as bad as them. You're just not as clever. And it's not going to last, okay? It can't last. And no one is going to miss you when you fuck up and fall off the radar forever. No one. Anyway, let's go back to randomly browsing the internet, shall we? Oh, look, a feminist conference. It's called Philia. I think that was once short for feminism in London, but they added some bits. I shall find out more. Huh. Seems like it happened over the weekend. Let's have a look at some of the speakers, shall we? Oh, look, who's on this... Hang on. One moment. Down. Where is... Okay, there we go. Look who's on the speakers list. It's the lovely Kate Smurthwaite. Well... Have you paused it? It seems your career is going fantastically. I see no reason why the BBC or any other broadcasting outlet would have any qualms at all about ever having you on again. After all, they're a perfectly fair and perfectly transparent organisation, and you're a perfectly fair and perfectly transparent practitioner of good humour. You know how I said no one is going to miss you when you fuck up? Well, it's a jolly good thing you didn't just fuck everything up, didn't it? Oh, this could have been the moment where the vampire bites the hand of the head vampire that feeds it. It's a bloody good thing you managed to avoid that for another day, isn't it? That would have been awful. Bye-bye, Katie. You heard me, Katie. Bye-bye, my love, my dear, my sweetie, my darling. We're talking about men now. I wish you luck. In all sincerity, I wish you the best of luck for any hard times that may or may not be ahead of you. Don't let the prosecution smack you on the ass on the way out, because that would be sexual harassment. Boo, 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 boo. Blocked.